Hello chess lovers, Suren here, and in this video want to share with you a brilliant and a quick victorious game played by renowned Soviet-Ukrainian chess grandmaster Alexander Beliavsky. His opponent is legendary Danish chess grandmaster Bent Larsen, and the game was played in 1981 at the 5th Tilburg Interpolis. In this game Beliavsky had white pieces and he opened up with e4. Larsen responded with Caro-Kann defense c6, d4, d5, knight c3, d takes e4, knight takes e4, bishop f5. We have the good old classical variation, which actually requires a huge theoretical knowledge, and the variations can sometimes last moves past 20. Knight d7, h5, bishop h7, bishop d3, of course. All this is a good old theory. Knight f6, bishop f4, and e6. I have to tell you that another popular alternative is announcing a check from a5, but in our game we have e6. Here Beliavsky castled queenside, bishop e7, and knight e5. In here the most popular move is king b1. Also knight e4 is something which can be seen very often, but in our game we have knight e5. And a novelty by Larsen a5. Well, usually before this Black was castling kingside, but in our game we have a5. I guess this was a home preparation by Larsen, but very soon we will see how Beliavsky will crush his opponent. Rook e1, a4, which is already a mistake and is allowing white to gain advantage. Instead, in here it was not too late to castle kingside, but in our game a4 was played, which was met by Beliavsky with a staggering knight g6 move. This is a move which can be seen very open in the classical line of Caro-Kann defense, and I am surprised that Larsen allowed white knight to jump on g6. The direct threat is knight takes h8, and also at any moment knight f5 can be played, something which we will see in our game. In here Larsen played knight d5, but let's take a look what if, for example, f takes g6. If f takes g6, then white can go for queen takes g6 check. If king f8, then rook takes e6 is coming. Now black should offer the exchange of queens, after which white is doubling up his rooks on the e file, and after queen takes g6, h takes g6, white is getting a powerful wedge on g6, which is demoralizing black's position. If bishop b4, then white can play knight f5, sacrificing the rook as well. This is actually nearly a forced line, and I would like to cover this line with you. So in here we have something very similar to a windmill, and then rook e7 is coming with a direct mating threat. Black is answering with knight e8, and then white can play rook f7. This time knight e7 is the mating threat, rook h7, and then white can munch the knight on d7. So this is how this line goes. Right now white is a rook down, but has a ferocious attack, and the rook cooperating together with the knight and the pawn are creating too many problems for black, and then white can win this bishop on f2. So we have a variation, as I already mentioned, nearly a forced one, which is longer than our main game. Of course the exchange of rooks favored only white. The pawn is getting unstoppable, and then white can play d5, and relying on this powerful passed pawns, white actually has a winning position. If rook e8, then white can announce a check from here. If king d8, then knight d6 is coming, or knight f6 also is playable, and all this looks very scary. Let's go back in our game. The knight sacrifice was not accepted, and instead we have knight d5 with the idea of meeting knight takes h8 with knight takes f4, but in here Beliavsky delivered another powerful move and he played knight f5, and believe it or not, but knight takes g7 is a direct mating threat. For example, if knight takes f4, then knight takes g7 checkmate will follow. That's why Larsen played bishop f8, and we have bishop d6. White wants to lure away black's dark squared bishop and announce a checkmate. That's why black strengthened his pawn on g7, moved away his rook, which was under the fire, and meanwhile we have c4. White wants to kick away black knight from that active outpost, and knight b4 was met with queen h3. This time white wants to go for knight takes h6, followed by Rook takes e6, or even can munch the bishop on f8. F takes g6. Finally, black accepted the knight sacrifice. The way white knights are placed actually is very beautiful, right, guys? Finally, one of the knights is gone, and we have rook takes e6 check, king f7, h takes g6 check. This time Beliavsky sacrificing his rook, which was accepted. But after rook e1 check, knight e5, bishop takes e5, we have a resignation. According to Stockfish, d takes e5 is allowing white to mate in 12, but bishop takes e5 is also winning. Right now the threat is knight takes g7 double check, followed by queen e6 checkmate. If king d7, then even in this case there is no escape, white can announce a checkmate. And according to Stockfish, the move which is allowing black to prolong his resistance is knight d3 check. Black is giving up his knight, is luring away white queen from this dangerous diagonal, but anyways, black's position is totally lost. This bishop is cutting all possible escaping routes. The queen again returned on this attacking diagonal, and now when you are playing queen d7 blocking the diagonal, this time white can go for a rook sacrifice. Yeah, white of course won't even go for knight takes e8. White can go after a checkmate. Mate is just a matter of moves, you know. Black pieces are simply imprisoned and there is no way out. That's why on move 23, after bishop takes e5, we have a resignation. Just a brilliant attacking game by Beliavsky. Larsen's a5, a4 was very dubious, and he stepped into unpleasant complications very quickly. I don't know how could he allow that knight g6. In the end, a chess puzzle for you, where the task is to find mate in 3. The task is very easy, and I will wait for your answer in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Here are more suggestions for you. Feel free to check them out as well. I will see you in my next video. Take care.